Okay, so we're going to go ahead and dive into the materials now. So make sure that you have access to those and you have your note-taking strategy all ready to go. So we're going to start in on lesson 1, which is on pages 6 and 7. So lesson 1 starts out with name tense, and the name tense come from Sarah Vanderwerf. If you were doing these in person, she has a printed grid that you would print on one side of your name tent, and then you would fold them in half and have students write their names on both sides of the name tent and decorate them. And then each day she either poses a question to them to answer, or I know one day she likes to invite them to ask her questions so that they can also get to know her. And so it's a great strategy to get to know your students. So you guys used this virtually because obviously we're not meeting in person. So we gave you one example of a way that you could still do this activity in a virtual manner. And if you go to the website that we have linked in the course documents that takes you to her site where she has a blog post all about her use of name tents, she has updated it. And there's a spot down at the bottom of her post where she gives some other examples that teachers have been creating around doing these name tents virtually. So from there, we're going to go into a task called the hundreds number task. And this is also from Sarah Vanderwerf. So she has a blog post about this also with, again, updates on how to do this virtually, which we're actually going to model with you guys in a little bit. So the way this is going to work is that you can group students however you like. We recommend groups of 4 because they work best, but you could also do it with a group of 3. To really do this activity from start to finish, you're going to want about 25 minutes to do that. If you're doing this in person with your students, then you're going to need to make sure you have 3 copies of the worksheet, and each student is going to need a highlighter. And if you're doing it virtually, you're going to want to put this on either a Jamboard or Google Slides or another similar platform. I know there's a lot of them coming out now that people have been using. So you're going to kind of set the stage with your students by letting them know that in math class, we talk. We don't just sit in rows and sit there and do our worksheet. We talk a lot in math class. And they're going to be spending a lot of time talking with partners and in groups, which we can still do virtually. Groups are going to have 3 minutes to find as many numbers from 1 to 100 in order as they can. Group members are going to take turns. So, you know, person number 1 will circle the number 1, number 2 will circle number 2, and so on. And it'll just keep going in a circle like that. One of the rules, though, is that students can help each other, but students cannot highlight the number for somebody else, and you have to go in order. So you're going to give the students, like I said, 3 minutes to highlight as many numbers as they can. After 3 minutes, you're going to have students talk in their groups about what strategy they want to use for the next round. And depending on your students, you're probably going to give them about 2 to 5 minutes to do that. You're then going to have them complete another 3-minute round so they can kind of see, did that strategy work? Then you want to pull them back together as a group. And now you want to debrief as a group with your students what strategies or what patterns were the various groups noticing. So this is a version that is on a Jamboard. So you can see the grid, and each person is going to be assigned a color. So Jamboard is part of the Google Suite. It is actually really similar to Google Slides. There just isn't as much functionality in a Jamboard, but it allows multiple people to be working on the same page. You can draw, you can use sticky notes on it, so it's a great way to collaborate with one another.